Hello, this is Lisa and Imagination Sisterhood Studio, and today we are going to be making this adorable little tiered pocket page thing. It's so easy and fun and takes no time at all, no skill at all. So let's get started. And I have been using DasyAvenue's beautiful new Botanical Bundle. It's on Etsy and it's got these gorgeous, dreamy, I don't know, kind of French garden images. I'm building my pages in a thrift store find. I love this because it was leather and it's got these really funky shaped pads in it, and so I'm going to decorate it, and then I'm going to recover the cover, and it'll be good for anybody. All right, so this is the first page that I did. We're going to open this up. You can do this in any journal, so it doesn't have to, there's nothing special about this paper or this project. All right, so you're going to take a page that you want. I'm just going to do it in this front page because that's what I wanted right inside my cover, was lots of, who doesn't love lots of pockets, right? So I wanted lots of pockets. All right, so you're going to need 3 of your pages. You can do more pages, but we are just going to work with 3. You are going to need some kind of page tabs. It doesn't matter what you choose your tabs. I'm using these circles from the Desi's kit, and because I printed them on 32-pound paper, I'm going to back them with cardstock. And this is just a 1.5 inch circle punch. You don't have to use a circle punch. You can use squares, you can use whatever. There's nothing special about what I'm doing here. Some extra things you might like is an edge puncher, and that'll only be for filling in your pages, or some edgy, funky scissors. That would be good. I have done some inking, so, and but this particular page, I am going to also fashion a little bit of an envelope here. But to make this, all you need is your tabs, some glue, ink if you want. That's it. All right, so let's get started. The first thing you're going to do is take your first page and you're going to fold it in half, fold it back, and maybe fold it a little bit away from the center so it doesn't get caught up in that center. Sometimes if you put it too close to the center, then it gets all bunchy in there when you turn the page. So I don't know if you can see, mine's not quite at my center. All right, so we're going to fold the first one in half and give that a nice crease. And we're going to go ahead and give that a little bit of glue. It just needs a little bit because we're really not going to be, mostly I just don't want it to be flapping in the wind while I'm doing other things. So I'm just doing a little tiny bit of glue here. And I'm using Fabri-Tac because this is very thin paper. And if I used a white glue, it made it very rumply. So I didn't like that on the last one, so I'm not doing that on this one. All right, first page is done. If you want to ink, now's a good time to ink. Second page. Second page, you're going to use your first page as your template. And we're going to fold this second page into this fold line. So we're just going to use that as our guide. And I'm going to fold that in. And it's not exact, so don't worry if it's off a little bit or whatever. This is just kind of a guide. As you can see, mine's not perfect. It's not matching perfectly. There is a gap there. It's completely fine. All right. Just like the first page, turn that back. And glue that one down. Just like the other one, it's a little dab of glue. We're just holding it in place so that it doesn't flop around when we're doing the next part of our project. That's the hardest part done. All right, and as you can see, now you have your waterfall 3-tier, whatever you want to call it, pocket. I'm going to ink those right here so that you can, it's actually easier for you to see what I'm doing. You'll see the edges better once they're inked. Okay, so now you can, oops, that one's not very well done. There you go. Now it's better, easier to see. All right, the next thing we are going to do is make our tabs. I am using, like I said, I'm using 1.5 inch circles. The bottom one for me is going to stick out really far, so you need to be mindful of how far you want your tab to stick out. These pads happen to, I've got a lot of room here, so when I put the tab on, I have plenty of room for it to be hidden. If you don't have room, then you might want to make your tabs a little smaller, these, or in, stick them on a little further in, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. All right, so we're ready to glue our tabs. Mine are already inked. If you have used cardstock for this, you can skip this step. I am going to have to glue my paper to cardstock to make it thick enough so that it doesn't get ruined as you're using it. Now, here's the only thing about doing this. I gotta make sure it's right side up. I only want to glue, let's use one that's easier to see. Let's try this one. All right, so I want this flower to be on this side. And you might need to, you know, if you get confused easily, you might need to do this with a pencil. So you only want to glue this side first. You only want to glue this half. So if you need to, mark it with a pencil to help yourself remember. You can hold this side if you want and flip it over. I only want to put glue on this side right now if you have to glue them together. If you don't have to glue them together, you're skipping this part, okay? So you don't have to do this part at all. And then I'm going to put my back on. And now this will slide on here, okay? If you are using cardstock to begin with, you're going to glue it right on top, okay? So just give me a minute to finish these other two. Again, only gluing. I'm going to look at where my halfway point is. And I can hold that side and put the glue on this side. Okay, so now we are ready to glue. You might want them in a certain order. You can decide. I think I like mine that way, actually. I thought I was going to want them the other way, but I think I actually like the big flower in the middle. Okay, the first one you are going, if this is cardstock, you're just going to glue it on. If you've done like I, you're going to open this up and you're going to put glue in the middle. And because you're gluing paper, this can get a little messy. I recommend a piece of wax paper, saran wrap, something, stick it under your page, and that way as you're gluing, it won't glue to the next page. So we're going to stick this on here, and I'm just deciding which way I want it. I think I want this kind of straight, and you're going to put it a ½ inch down from the top. And it should be kind of halfway centered. Oops, I only put glue on one side, so you want glue on both sides. Otherwise, you'll have a problem that I have like this. And if this is easier for you to do it this way, then do it this way. Glue it, you know, one side at a time. And then press it down, make sure it's on there the right. I got a little extra glue doing the fandango on my page, so just wiping that down. All right, so my next one goes halfway. So for me, that is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is half. My halfway line is right here. There's my pencil. Again, I'm going to take my plastic stuff, whatever you're using, stick it in the middle. And I'm going to put glue on this side. I'm going to remember to put glue on both sides instead of one side. But, you know, it might be easier to just do it on one side. Totally your thing. All right. Okay. And I can tell my glue kind of erupted a little bit. Here's my halfway mark. I'm going to slide that in. Or again, if you're using cardstock, then you're just going to glue it right on there. And again, kind of line it up halfway. If you're limited for space, then push these in more. If you don't have a, you know, if the cover of, this is what's going to happen. That's the best way to describe it. So this one is going to be sticking out like this. So if you don't have a whole lot of room and you don't want it to stick out that far, then glue it in there for that last one. Glue it in there for these two. You're going to glue like this. All right, that's that one. Doing good. We're doing good. All right, we're going on to our last page. Same thing. Gluey Louie. And just like the one on the top, you're going to glue this one about a ½ inch from the bottom. You don't have to get your ruler out. This is not an exact science. I got my glue a little too much. Tuck that in just a little bit. Of course, I have glue all over my fingers because I always have glue all over my fingers. All right. Make sure we're not, yeah, see, thank heavens I have my plastic on the back because I've got glue all over the place. Let's get this glue off so it doesn't cause a problem. Obviously, I want a little glue happy on there, and I glued it down. There we go. That's the other nice thing about this Fabri-Tac is it kind of rubs off. If it hasn't all the way dried yet, you can rub it off places you don't want it. Alrighty. There we have our 3 tabs, which is adorable. And actually, you can leave it like that if you want. You don't have to do anything. I wanted to make it pockets. So now I am taking my glue, and I'm going to run a little thin line of glue at the top. And a little thin line of glue at the bottom. Glue that one down. You can leave it. You can just have one thing. I'm going to do both of them pockets. Little line of glue, little line of gluey Louie. Gluey Louie, oh, baby, we gotta go. All right, and once again, you're gonna wanna check, make sure your glue, yep, because it did, hasn't belched all over your other underside page, because then those pages will stick together, which you don't really want that. And there we have our adorable dividers. And now you can put some edged paper. You can see how pretty the edged paper looks at it. You could put lace on that page. For this little pocket, I wanted an envelope instead. So I'm going to quickly do an envelope. This envelope is way too big. It won't fit. So I thought I'd do something funky. So I'm just gonna, I know how deep my pocket is. My pocket is this deep and I want it to hang out just the tiniest bit. So I'm gonna cut it, this is like 3/8 of an inch bigger than the size I want it. So I want my envelope this big. I'm cutting it this big. All right, so I'm just gonna cut the whole thing off. Where's my cutter thinger? And slice this off first. And that's going to have a funky, angled, pockety, like glue down thing. It's not going to close like a regular flap, which I always like things a little funky. I always like it if it's doing something a little bit different. See, that's going to be my envelope. Closure's going to be like that, which I think is kind of fun. All right, now we have to make it into an envelope. So, and this might be a little tricky. You might want to open this up. I don't know, these envelopes are a little, these are not great envelopes. They're a little bit cheapy. Let's see if I can do this without ripping it. If I can't do it without ripping it, oh, it is going to open up. All right, because that makes it way easier. I'm going to open this envelope up. You might be able to do it without doing this. This is just what I'm doing. All right, I need, let's go back and show you what I'm doing. I need to make this side closed, okay? So we are going to leave this centerpiece long. This all stays. Oops, where's my pencil? This is all gonna stay. And this is all getting cut off. Oops, not that part. Up here. This is all gonna get cut off. And that will give me the piece to fold in. All right, so here's my fold line. Here's my fold line. And I'm gonna cut up to the fold line. And snip that off. It might work better if I snip it a little bit at an angle. That way it won't have any crimpy stuff going on. So we'll just go back in and snip that at an angle. And this needs to be cut off that same little bit. You might want to measure. I'm not. All right, so we're going to fold this piece that we left. That now gets folded in. And now we glue it back together. All right, so it's easy as that. And that's going to give us this fun, funky little envelope. And now I can see where I needed to trim that off. So I'm just going to trim that off a little bit, hopefully without cutting the folded area. If you're not good with scissors, I don't recommend doing it this way because you can cut your fold and then you got to start all over again. Let's glue this puppy back together. And I got this little bit. You could leave that there. I don't think I want that there. Doesn't matter. 6 to 1, half dozen the other. I'm just deciding I don't like it. So I'm trimming that piece off. This is kind of fussy. You don't want to do this. Just stick another tuck in there. Put a little piece of paper in there. But this is what I decided to do for this particular project. There we go. All right, I like that. All right, so we are gluing where this is touching. So I'm actually going to glue this piece because that way I know that's where that's touching. Glue that. And then we are going to glue this back together the way it was. And you're also going to need to glue this edge so that it all stays together. And you know what? Before that sticks real quick, I am going to, that's why I love this glue, because I can realize that I forgot to do something. I want to ink that so that you can see that edge. Once it's glued, really hard to do that. There we go. Now I can see the edge. I love that. And let's do this one while I still have a little flexibility to get in there. There we go. Got it before it glued. And now I can do the rest. Okie dokie. And then I thought what I would do, I've got this really pretty, this is something I cut off of another piece like this. And I wasn't using it, and I thought, oh, it's got all kinds of pretty staining on it. So I am going to stick that to the side of this. And that way, when it's in the pocket, it'll have a pretty edge. So I'm trying to figure out which way. If I do it that way, I cut the wrong edge. I guess I'm gluing it on the outside because I got to. So let me ink this. because I want this to be all yummy gorgeous. I wasn't going to glue it on the outside, but I'm going to have to. So I'm going to glue that right here, and that'll give that, you'll see how the magic once it's on. You don't have to do this. You could put lace, again, like this one, you could put, the other one, you could put lace on it. I am just doing this because I want that ruffly edge to show outside the edge of my pocket. And when I put it in my pocket, I get that pretty edge. See? All right. So there you have your 3-tiered pocket with these fun tabs and fun tucks. And doesn't that add a fun and actually really pretty feature? Right, when you open up your book, you get this pretty, and I'll probably do something else on there. But anyway, once you open your book, you've got this really pretty thing. So there you go. Here's 2. Where's the other one? Here's the 2 different versions of this. One with birds, one with flowers. I hope you enjoyed this project. I hope it was easy and fun for you. I'd love to hear back from you. This is Lisa and Imagination Sisterhood Studio, and this was DasyAvenue's Botanical Bundle on Etsy. Thank you so much for playing with me.